Hey, welcome back to Rebuild Wrench, folks. If you haven't been here before, my name's Rick, and we're working on our CX500 Scrambler, Cafe Racer, combination thereof. Today, you've just seen me do the seat pan. If you've looked at the last videos, base for the equipment to sit under the seat. We're going to build our seat next, but I need to establish where the tank's going to go. I wanted to bring the front of the tank down a little bit, and I didn't know whether I want to bring the back up a little bit to get this line here nice and straight. So when I build my seat, this is one nice straight line. It has a nice look, which I've seen other guys do. I'm not reinventing the wheel, I'm just trying to do it my way. So what I've decided, I'm going to move the front of the tank down about 7/8 of an inch. So that nothing touches underneath on the frame. Down 7/8 at the front and up about 1/2 an inch on the back, and that'll give me the nice straight line that I think will work good. So today what we're going to do is cut off the front mounts and cut off this rear mount. I'll move this back here. Cut off the rear mount for the tank. Just disconnect the welds, make a little bracket. This will just come up 1/2 an inch. Cut these two mounts off each side of the frame, and then make an extension so that I can put it down 7/8 of an inch from this bolt hole down. That'll bring the front of the tank down a bit, back of the tank up a bit. Everything else remains clear. The baffle that sits in here, this baffle here, it sits in like that. As you can see, the old rubber's all beat up and come apart. Once I get the tank established, then this baffle I can redo and make appropriately to keep the air from coming back this way. So that's a whole nother mini build. But so today we're going to cut this bracket off, move it up, cut these brackets off, move them down. Then we can establish the tank. That's it. That's where the tank's going to sit, and get on with the build. So once again, if you're interested, stick around. Remember, sparks are hot. Just melt through the top of my glove. Wear the right gear. I know I don't always wear the right gear. Wear the right gear. Okay, that's great. That's off. Now I can just move it up 1/4 of an inch. I'll make a couple little pieces to weld in here. Clean this all up, of course. And I can actually finish welding around my tube here, which would be nice. And then weld 1/4 inch rise on that. And that'll give me I could change the angle just slightly too, so that this actually matches up perfectly to my lowering the front. I'll set that up and then I can weld that back in. There we go. That's what we need. It's up 1/4 inch. Okay, let's cut these babies off of here. Oh man. Okay, new blade, back at it. Now, of course, to do this right, I would take this over, chuck it in the lathe on the dark side, and make a new one. Just cut a new one in the lathe would be the best way. However, the lathe is not operational right at the moment. Like I say, I'm right in the middle of my big rebuild on the dark side, so it's all disconnected and not sitting there. And there's a whole other program on that. But anyways, so I'm just going to do this a little bit, not as good, but it'll work. This is a simple little piece I made up small light gauge steel that I'll put a bolt through here onto the original mounting bracket on the frame. This is the piece I cut off. We'll weld that on there. That's about the thickness of the blade, a little thicker than the blade, of course. It's a little heavier. And weld this onto the original mount onto this bracket. This bracket can then screw on to where it was before, adjust accordingly because it's forward just a little bit, get the angle just right. Once that's all set up, this is bolted tight to the frame. Our original mount welded to this, that'll all be welded up like that. Once that piece is put together and on the frame, then I can get the angle just right. I'll tack it and then I'll pull the bolt out, weld this on, and just weld the hole shut. And that'll be on there, just like that. The frame changes shape right here a little bit. I'll show you on the bike, hang on. Right in here, the shape changes. It rounds down there. So to drop this far enough, I'm gonna have to put this in here like this, get my angle just right there. This will be welded tight to here, weld this onto here, and then I'll just weld this hole shut, grind it off, and that's where our new mount will be. And then under here, where my fingers are back here, there's actually a bit of space. So I wouldn't be able to put this down here far enough and have anything to weld to under here. So that's why I made up this little piece. Okay, step one, a little weld up. That piece will go on here. Then I can adjust. The distance is what I wanted, my 7/8 from hole center to hole center. Now I can adjust just the right angle when I get the tank on, so it's just perfect. I'll bolt this tight, then I can weld this, take the bolt out, weld it all, re-weld it around here. It'll look good. But with this overhang here, I had nothing to weld this disc to. So I had to make this small piece. So once it's welded up, it'll be as tough as it was before, and I'll be able to get the tank exactly where I want it to sit. There's the whole new bracket installed. I had some small Torx bolts, metric, of course, that fit in here. Now I can adjust this Torx bolt looser, swing this to the appropriate distance so everything fits, and then torque this down tight enough, weld this here, and then our mount is in the new spot. With a little playing around, I decided that this is maybe the best method. Just leave it alone and it'll be nicely held into place with the little Torx bolt. I can adjust the angle appropriately and we're ready to go. Clean up, paint, once it's all done, you'll never see it. Hey guys, that's a wrap of another project. Thanks very much. If you've actually hung around this long, that's excellent. I've got the tank established now where we want it to go. Lowered the front about that 7/8 of an inch. Lifted the rear up there, the 1/4 inch that I wanted here on the bracket. And now I've established where I can build my seat in relation to the end of the tank. So we're ready to keep going here. So if you hung out this long, thanks very much. If you like, subscribe, that'd be great. Have a good day. Thanks very much for hanging out with me.